Achievements of NAHCON's fourth board under the leadership of Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan. Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan launched the Hajj Savings Scheme in Nigeria, established the Hajj Institution of Nigeria (HIN), digitalized the operations of the Commission to replicate global trends. He also established a clinic for NAHCON staff. Zikirullah renovated and remodeled the NAHCON's headquarters, Hajj House. He also created a public-private partnership arrangement for Kano, Lagos, Ilorin and Maiduguri, meant for the Commission to get additional sources of income. More so, Kunle Hassan upgraded NAHCON's zonal offices and reopened its outreach centers, equipping them with digital facilities. Furthermore, during his tenure, Zikirullah established an anti-corruption and transparency unit within the Commission. Similarly, he improved staff welfare and capacity building. Moreover, he constructed a mosque in the Commission's headquarters. And finally, his achievements would not be completed without mentioning the successful airlift of 95,000 Nigerian pilgrims to and from Saudi Arabia in 2023, first of its kind in more than 15 years after establishment of the Commission. Watch the details.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
The core mandate of National Hajj Commission of Nigeria is to plan and lead the facilitation of all Hajj operations in Nigeria. Derived from provision of extant laws, it is the prerogative of the President to appoint the Executive Chairman, CEO, and other executive members of the Commission. It was on the expiration of the tenure of Barrister Abdullahi Mukhtar on the 3rd of December 2019 that the then President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan as the new substantive Chairman CEO at NAHCON, alongside the stipulated 3 members of the Commission's executives. It was, however, not until early 2020 that he fully resumed office. Consequent upon this, the 3 commissioners so appointed were Alhaji Nur Hassan Yakase as Commissioner in charge of Policy, Personnel Management and Finance, Alhaji Magaji Hardawa as Commissioner in charge of Operations, and Sheikh Mohamed Suleiman as Commissioner in charge of Planning, Research, Information and Library. Before he took charge of affairs at NAHCON, he had held the position of Executive Secretary at Osun State's Pilgrims Welfare Board from 2014 to 2017, evidently an exposure that offered him a deeper perspective to Hajj operations as a facilitator rather than a mere pilgrim.
That when times change, so must we. That the new time requires new response to new challenges. We understood that NAHCON program is inadequate to address the need of our time, especially in the area of funding and revenue generation.
The vast potentials of Barrister Zikirullah is indeed an earned one, as even before his study of law and being called to the bar, he had acquired another degree in business administration, thereby further placing himself in a comfortable position to be able to deliver in almost all facets of human endeavor. Long before his appointment to the position of Chairman CEO at NAHCON, Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan had created a niche for himself as epitome of dedicated and selfless service in every aspect of propagation of the religion of Islam. For instance, at some point in his life, he had held the position of President of the Muslim Students Society, then became a special advisor on religious affairs to the then governor of Osun State from the year 2010 to 2018. By the following year 2019, for astute and focused Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan, in service for Islam, The sky was never seen as his limit, rather than just a mere beginning. This manifested in his being elected into the Board of Trustees at the Standardized Center for Memorization and Teaching of Islam and Arabic. The indefatigable barrister Kunle's wisdom, skill, and practicable knowledge and commitment to service did not escape the eyes of Lagos State Pilgrims Welfare Board, as they also had at some point appointed him into the midst of his group of notable scholars. Perhaps the inception of national prominence of barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan was when he became the Secretary General of the popular and formidable Nasrullah al-Fatih Society of Nigeria, NASFAT. It is worthy of note to realize that barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan took over the mantle of leadership of NAHCON at the peak of the coronavirus pandemic that befell the global community, culminating into a serious global economic meltdown. This saw the restriction of especially transnational travels, in which not even travel into Saudi Arabia for the Hajj operation was spared. This explains the reason NAHCON was unable to plan and facilitate Hajj operations for 2 consecutive years, 2020 and 2021. It was not until the year 2022 that on the councils of global health experts and regulatory bodies like the WHO and UNICEF, Saudi authorities relaxed and reviewed its embargo on Hajj operations. This, however, led to the reduction of annual Hajj slots, being the recommended step to curtailing massive spread of the coronavirus. Consequently, Nigeria's Hajj slot was slashed from the usual 95,000 to mere 45,000, a reduction of more than 50%. As expected, there erupted a pandemonium and confusion among intending Nigerian pilgrims. But the master planner was not perturbed. As usual, he knew that this time, his intellect and acumen were witnessing the most strategic challenge they've ever faced. As usual, rather than wallop in lamentation, he took the lead and collaborated with his team and think tank. Together they worked out a strategy that at the end will later earn himself and Nigeria as a country more accolade beyond peers. Meanwhile, worthy of note is the fact that announcement of the well over 50% reduction in Nigeria's slots for the Hajj in 2022 came with a very short notice. Once again, back to the drawing board was barrister Zikirullah's resolve, for he is known by peers with that popular saying, "Think out of the box." At the end, in spite the short notice, success again came the way of workaholic and ever-optimistic barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan. The literature of success story of the Hajj 2022 began its journey of manifestation with the immediate reapproval of the usual 95,000 annual pilgrims slot for Nigeria. It is, however, imperative to stress that this wasn't a generic action, but specific and indeed a limited privilege. The first and perhaps most significant step that came with this strategy was to come up with an approach that made sure no Nigerian prospective pilgrim missed the Hajj so long he has finished paying the complete and stipulated fare before the date for closure of the airport in Saudi Arabia, as the tradition is annually. Then he realized that he could not implement his second strategy, which required an approval from the president. It had to do with the need to increase the number of aircrafts approved for NAHCON for the Hajj operations to 5. No sooner than he presented his case to the then President Muhammadu Buhari that he secured the necessary approval.
Truly, the initial plan was that it should not be more than the 3rd of August. But we went back to the drawing plan. We look at the fact that despite also the challenges at the beginning, the outbound journey was for 28 days, and we gave ourselves the task that the inbound journey too must not be more than 28 days, no matter the odds. So I must say that the operation departments were having sleepless nights throughout, because the management gave them the mandate 28 days from Nigeria and not more than 20 days back to Nigeria. And alhamdulillah, they've been able to meet the target. We're happy for this.
Next, barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan could not help but worry for the medical welfare of Nigerian pilgrims, in the face of the global coronavirus pandemic, which was still ravaging then. Without hesitation, by the privileges of his office as the chairman, CEO of National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, he quickly increased the number of health workers in the year's Hajj operations. The goal was to ensure standard and timely medical intervention and services throughout the Hajj activities, and so it went. Aside from this, Barrister Kunle also found ways to see to it that as much as 95% of Nigerian pilgrims succeeded in visiting Medina even before they entered Mecca. In spite of the numerous challenges that he had to contend with, Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan never was discouraged or distracted in his commitment, dedication and resolve to take NAHCON to a further pedestal of guaranteed selfless service platform and reliable outputs via open and transparent conduct. This he had confessed to at one of his numerous parleys with newsmen. Record has it that although Hajj 7 scheme has been a plan nurtured by the past leadership of the Commission, it is the Zikirullah-led board that however brought it to fruition.
We are not oblivious of the fact that this is just the beginning of a new journey, which requires all stakeholders, our traditional rulers, ulama, public commentators, and our friends in the media to assist us in educating and enlightening our prospective pilgrims on the need to subscribe to the scheme and the enormous benefits accruable therefrom.
Nigeria being a secular nation made Barrister Zikirullah begin to think about working out a modality for increased internally generated revenue for the National Hajj Commission. He therefore came up with several income-generating strategies that are not only smart, but aligns with the current digital age. These included, among others, a PPP engagement that brought in private investors to develop and create financial viability for numerous properties of the Commission that are all over the country. Ultimately, his short-term vision was to take NAHCON to a level of being able to generate a minimum annual IGR of 200 million naira with attainment of total financial autonomy from the federal government for the Commission as a long-term goal. In the same vein, under the leadership of the ever-optimistic Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan, NAHCON went into a collaboration with National Information Technology Development Agency (NIDDA) for the establishment of a Digital Economy Center (DEC), which will serve as e-learning center ahead of the takeoff of the proposed Hajj Institute, whose establishment has reached an advanced stage. To ensure transparency and mitigation of corrupt practices in Hajj industry in Nigeria, Barrister Zikirullah saw to it that the Commission, in liaison with ICPC, inaugurate the Anti-Corruption Unit ACTU in the NAHCON headquarters. Members appointed to pilot the exercise at the time were charged with the responsibility to ensure diligence, fairness, and honesty in the course of their assignment without fear or favor.
As we know that where corruption pervades, progress also will not be achievable.
Attainment of set and desired goals and standards in every establishment largely depends on the quality and efficiency of the workforce in it. This explains the over 25 various capacity building trainings that were organized at several instances for staff of the Commission during the stint of the Zikirullah-led board at NAHCON. Staff welfare was consistently made a priority too. The importance of having a conducive office accommodation to productivity cannot be overemphasized. Hence, the corporate headquarters building of NAHCON, an acquired property, received an unprecedented transformation and holistic upgrade and facelift. Thus far, the new ultra-modern conference hall has since been completed and in use. A state-of-the-art reception hall has been completed. Another ambitious project that has reached 60% completion is the 500-person Jumat mosque within the NAHCON premises. It was on the 24th February 2020 that His Eminence the Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, CFR MNI, laid foundation for the construction of the mosque.
Alhamdulillah, as the President of the Supreme Council, and I've seen so much transformation in Hajj affairs in this country.
His style of leadership was all through so inclusive that it was adjudged a leadership that recognizes, engages and incentivizes productivity, hard work, and never nepotism-driven. He encouraged teamwork and made the office of the chairman, CEO accessible to all. In effect, he operated an open-door policy in which his commissioners and other subordinates and stakeholders got a sense of reckoning, a sense of belonging in all affairs of the commission throughout his tenure in office.
This board unfolded its mission statements, among which are the following: to make Hajj fare affordable for Nigerian Muslims, to develop a plan of action by which Nigerian pilgrims will spend lesser number of days in the Holy Land, the implementation of the Hajj Savings Scheme, the takeoff of the Hajj Training Institute, the total digital transformation of Hajj operations, staff welfare, and acquisition of property in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Barrister Zikirullah earned so much sweet and fulfilling testaments from the 3 commissioners he had to work with for his unwavering and consistent engagement and collaboration in steering the affairs of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, where mutual respect was never compromised or ever taken for granted. In order to keep zonal offices of NAHCON busy and efficient, while also taking the services of the Commission closer to the people, the Commission's 4th board, led by Zikirullah Kunle Hassan, upgraded the former 5 zonal offices, namely Maiduguri, Kano, Ilorin, Lagos, and Port Harcourt, and reopened an additional zonal office in Sokoto, bringing the total number to 6. Outreach centers were also established in Bauchi, Kaduna, Abuja, and Yola to further boost NAHCON's operation and service delivery to the pilgrims.
Our intention is to decentralize activities from the headquarters to those outreaches, zonal offices, so that they can effectively perform. If we devolve responsibility to them, we provide them with authority and resources for them to function, it will be better.
Before the expiration of his tenure in office, he had hoped to see to it that the right for NAHCON to resume handling of pilgrims feeding during Hajj was returned to Nigeria and relevant refunds made to 2023 pilgrims who were not judiciously fed during their stay at Muna and Arafat during the year's Hajj activities. Recall that it had to do with an alleged failure and substandard service in contravention of the agreement entered into with NAHCON on the part of the company to whom that feeding contract was awarded. Nigerians at home and in the diaspora and even other nationals that are privy to the epitome of selfless service, Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan, for his enviable and record-breaking successes throughout his tenure as the chairman and CEO of National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON. From every nook and cranny, goodwills never cease flowing in for him. Indeed, Barrister Zikirullah Kunle Hassan Esquire can be said to have come to NAHCON, saw and indeed conquered, living it definitely a better place than he met it.
شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك